Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to the first episode of Morning Juice. Wherever you guys are tuning in from, whether you know me or if you've just randomly clicked on this video or listening on Spotify, I just want to thank you guys for being here today. You could be anywhere else in the world, you could be doing anything else, but you've chosen to be here, and for that I'm truly grateful. So thank you. I believe that everything happens for a reason, so I know that you're not here by mistake, and I hope that what you're about to see in these series makes you hopeful, gives you clarity, and helps you find what it is that you're searching for, which for most of us is who we are and what our purpose is. But before we get into that, just a little bit of background on who I am. My name is Jeanita, and I live in Brisbane, Australia. I have a beautiful son who's just turned 1 and a lovely fiance who hopefully will show his face on here sometime soon. I was born in Auckland, New Zealand. I had to think about that for a second. I was born in Auckland, New Zealand, and moved to the Gold Coast when I was 9, and I've been in Brisbane since I was about 10. Fast forwarding a little bit, I've dipped and dabbed in different industries and started off in education, then kind of worked my way to working at a music agency where I organised gigs for local artists here in Brisbane, and then also helped coordinate some festivals a bit after that as well. And then I kind of veered off into doing some fashion writing for some online magazines based in New York and London, and I loved it. I loved all of it, and really, really enjoyed it. But for some reason, deep down, there was just something missing, and it wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it would be at the time. So now here we are. I've spent, say, the last year or so really soul searching, you could call it. Done a lot of yoga and meditation and listening and watching podcasts and having some really deep conversations with some people. And I've always known who I was from a really young age, but there were some things that I was afraid to share, and that was more so the deeper parts of myself that I was afraid to share to anyone, even my family. It wasn't until about, say, the last 2 years have I really started to open up, and been okay to speak my truth and unravel those parts of myself that I hid for so long. So I learned a lot more about how important self-care is, how important self-love is, and taking that time out for yourself. And I think a small part of that I owe to motherhood. Becoming a mum has forced me to settle in a way and helped me reevaluate the environment that I wanted my son to grow up in, and not by force, but by example. You start to question your past behavior, and I started to watch, what I exposed my son to, from the tone that I would use on a day-to-day to how my energy affected his energy. And I knew that there were things that I needed to change within me first. And I'm sure that, those of you listening, and who have been on a self-discovery journey, or who are currently on one at the moment, can say it isn't easy. There's years of pain to undo. There's untapped trauma. There's, uncomfortable conversations that need to be had. And to be honest, for me, it was really hard to find those tools to help me overcome those things at the time, as I'm sure it is for you watching and listening in as well, to help, guide you on that journey. So here we are 3 years later, and really still on that journey. And another thing is, ever since I was a teenager, I've always been so interested in the way our minds work, why they work, why they interpret certain situations a certain way. And as far as I can remember, my way of expression was through writing, and it still is. But this goes back to, say, when I was 11 and 12, and I would keep a daily diary, and every night before I go to bed, I would, write what I did that day, who was my friend, who wasn't my friend that day. That journaling kind of turned into writing lyrics for songs as I went into high school, which then turned into articles as I went through college. And when I was about 19, I started the secret WordPress blog that only my mum knew about at the time. But looking back, I wrote about some pretty deep stuff and overcoming emotional battles and things about finding my true self and what my purpose was, what I wanted to do as a career as well. And I think my mum used to always try and get me to share it on Facebook, and I wasn't ready at the time. I was so afraid to share that vulnerable part of myself and share my adversity, even though I knew that it could help someone. So I guess that leads me into what the Morning Juice podcast is. And looking back, I realized a lot of the things that I experienced, I learned from them on my own, from say my parents' divorce, to moving out of home at 18, to having, low self-esteem, social anxiety. And I had a lot of friends that battled with mental health, because there was not a lot of conversation about things like that back then. Or even say toxic relationships, what that even looked like, how do you get out of it? And also sexuality and anxiety. I feel that they were always such taboo topics, especially in a culture like mine, or even in any culture. It's just something that you just wouldn't really talk about, and you're not really open to talking about, or you're not knowing how to approach those conversations to your parents or to your family, that kind of thing. These days there are a lot more talk about mental health and self-love and being open about your sexuality, and back then that there wasn't. And I think that's why I leaned so heavily on, my writing and my journaling and writing music, and because I found that I could be as raw and vulnerable as I could be. No one would know, no one would ever see it. And I could get my emotions and my thoughts out on paper, see where I was at, and see what I needed to do to avoid the same situation in the future. And to make better choices, obviously. And that's kind of what I want Morning Juice to be for you guys. I want this to be a safe space where you guys feel that you can be as open and honest as you can be, as raw as you want to be. And I want to touch on these taboo topics, and have these unspoken conversations with you guys, and in a way normalize them, so you feel that, you can have the freedom to speak about it, or speak your mind, no matter how emotional or crazy you think that you're being. We're all going through some type of pain, and even if this podcast helps one person, I truly would be so grateful. So, if you've ever started your mornings with morning juice or a smoothie like I do, you'll agree it feels like a reset button, and energizes, and it fuels your body in a way. And that's kind of the reason why I called this podcast Morning Juice, because that's how I want you guys to feel after every episode. And I hope that these conversations open your mind. I hope that they make you feel like you're not alone on this journey. I hope that they help you protect your mind, help you become aware, and make some really conscious, educated decisions on some really hard situations that you'll be facing. Ultimately, though, I hope that they make you happy. I hope that it gives you healing. I hope that it helps you grow, learn, and love yourself better and others in the process. But yeah, I've always loved to talk to people and hear their stories and learn from their experiences. So don't worry, you won't have to listen to my voice every single time. I'll be having a special guest on every episode, or as much as I can. And yeah, I really hope that we can give you guys something that will help you on your journey to getting to where you want to be and becoming who you want to be. I too am far from where I want to be and who I want to be, because I'm constantly learning more and more about myself every single day. But that's what it's all about, guys. The work really never stops, and we're constantly evolving. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I think that's all that I have to say. I hope that I've said enough, and I'm honestly so excited to get into this podcast and share a lot more about myself with you guys, and vice versa. Feel free to leave a comment in the description box and send me a message. And I'm so excited to start this journey with you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow on Instagram and Facebook, and share it with your friends, your family, your mum, your dad, anyone that you feel that could relate, or that this would benefit. So yeah, I hope you guys all have an amazing day. Sorry to take up your morning. I hope it wasn't babbling too much, but yeah, thank you guys. Have a good day, and we'll see you guys next time.